Welcome to Human. I'm so excited for today's episode. Sky and I talk all about her experience moving from China away from her entire family at 20 years old to Wisconsin in the United States, then moving to Vancouver, Canada for her master's degree. We dive into a ton of different things. We talk about her experience being an Asian student at a very white university in the United States. We talk about dealing with depression and anxiety without her family around. We talk about her major and her passions, and also how a professor can really influence your life. Thank you so much for being here, Sky, and thank you to Pick My Brain for making this connection. I would not have met Sky if it wasn't for pickmybrain.world, an incredible platform where a ton of different people have profiles where you can book them, you can pick their brain literally, ask them a ton of questions, get to know them in some fun ways. Sky actually picked my brain on some video editing stuff, which was super fun, and honestly, it's just an incredible way to meet people. So I really encourage you to follow up with Sky or myself. You can search us up on pickmybrain.world or just to browse all these incredible people and talk to someone new. You never know what you might learn, and I think you will definitely learn lots because new people always teach us a ton. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy the episode. Okay, well, welcome to Human, Sky. I'm so excited to have you here. So we chatted once through Pick My Brain and kind of just talked about life and video editing and lots of different things, but do you want to kind of give a brief explanation of what you're studying in school?
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. So I am originally from China, and I just got my Bachelor of Science degree from University of Wisconsin-Madison, studying animal science with a minor in computer science. And now I'm a master's student at UBC doing research in dairy cattle welfare.
Nice. I find it so interesting, everything you're studying, and I was just shocked and so impressed at your story of how you moved from China completely by yourself with your cat or cats?
So yeah, my cat was not with me. I adopted my
Okay.
cat in Wisconsin. So yeah, the
Oh,
cats are
gotcha.
new. Yeah, one is
Okay.
American, the other is a Canadian, and I'm
Oh
a
my God.
Chinese. So we have an international family here.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love that. So how old were
Yeah.
you when you moved from China to Wisconsin?
I was about, I would say 20 years old. Yeah.
Wow. And you did it completely by yourself, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
And so
it's
then
all
did
by
you,
myself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then did you do like a 4-year undergrad in Wisconsin?
Oh, so because I did the first 2 years of my undergrad in China,
Oh,
and then I
okay.
transferred to UW-Madison. And
Okay.
because I changed my majors and I was trying to just explore other different fields, so I spent another 3 years in Wisconsin to finish my bachelor's degree. Yeah,
Okay, nice. And then how old were you when you moved from Wisconsin to Vancouver for your master's?
23.
Okay, so all of
Yeah.
this so young, doing it totally by yourself, and you haven't seen your family in how long has it been now?
Wow, more than a year already. Yeah, I
Wow.
miss
And
them
so
a
and you don't
lot.
have any family so all your family's in China, right? No one is in North America?
Yes. Yeah, all
Wow.
of my family members, they are in China. And yeah, it was kind of hard to start a new life in Canada and just like move in the middle of pandemic. Coming to Canada, the only person that I knew was Maria, who is a great friend of mine. And yeah, she helped me a lot. But other than her, I did not know anybody. And it's definitely not a great time to make new friends,
Yeah. Oh
just
my
with
God, for
COVID and
sure.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I'm curious if you want to kind of talk about the hardest part of moving and different things that you've learned doing like two really big moves by yourself.
Yeah. So I think like the most recent move I did is from US to Canada, right? And I would say that was a very exhausting trip. But yeah, I'm glad I'm finally here,
Yeah.
and I'm very happy to be in UBC. It really widened my view of the world. Like the people I see here, they are from so many diverse background, and they are so genuine and they respect other people's culture. Is yeah, it's
Mm,
something that is very interesting for me to see. Like I'm very much used to, like people from North America because they. If they have never been to China before, they just read all those tweets online or news from reporters with different agenda. They would just think negatively of China, and they would think, oh, China, people eat dog there. um, but in Vancouver, I feel like people are more understanding that it's a different culture, and we should not just judge other people for their own culture norm and what they eat. yeah, and it's not culture norm in China to eat dogs.
Just to
Yes.
clarify, if anybody
Yes, just to
had that
clarify.
stigma. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and I remember the last time we chatted that you said in Wisconsin that the culture was predominantly white and
Yeah.
you weren't, as accepted there as Vancouver, which is good to hear that Vancouver is a place that you've been able to feel more comfortable, but just awful to hear that like you experienced, so many years of maybe standing out compared to everybody else.
Yeah, I would say like I mean like Madison, it's not like they do not accept me. I was welcomed by so many great professors there. Like
Oh, that's good.
they all treat me so well. I would say it's just sometimes people might treat me differently without like realizing that themselves, or
Mm.
sometimes they would ask me questions that they probably would not ask to another white person, but they are probably just not realizing that at all. Like for example, like two things that I got most often is that one is that where do you really come from? They just
Wow.
like look at my face, like my skin color, and decided that okay, I'm not born here, I'm not part of America, so where do you really come from? And the second is that your English is really good. I mean, yeah, thanks for the compliment, but it still tells you something about like what do they assume already. Just take a look at your face. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That like just right off the bat, people are making assumptions and so interesting to
Yeah.
hear it worded like that. I feel like I'm so glad you're coming on the podcast to kind of talk about this and like how did those experiences like make you feel as well?
I just feel like I don't belong there, to be honest. Like, it feels like I was treated like a guest instead of,
Mm,
being welcomed to this like new home or this new family, like being totally accepted for who I am. Yeah,
mm.
and I just feel like I'm always the one who stand out in the classroom. Like I'm usually the only Asian in my classroom. It's just predominantly white.
That's so
Yeah.
hard. And I'm sure, like, I'm curious your headspace, what it was like when you were leaving China and deciding to move to the States and, thinking this is going to be my new home. And, there's so many, possibilities. I'm sure, like, I bet there was a combination of excitement and nervous and fear, right? But thinking that that's a place you want to call home and not being as accepted as I'm sure you would have hoped must have been really hard.
Yes, I would say so. Like to be honest, before coming to America, I was a little bit fearless, to be honest. Like I'm
Oh,
always the kind
yeah.
of person who is like that. I don't think too much before I act. I mean, I would evaluate the risk, but like
Mhm.
if the risk is acceptable, then I would just go with it and see how it goes.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like flying from China to US is like I was really excited. I was not afraid at all. But yes, like coming here, there are so many challenges after I arrived. Like yeah, for example, I can only work for 20 hours a week.
Mhm.
Like that is under my study permit.
Mhm.
But a lot of times because it's work on the farm or work in the hospital, you can go like overtime so easily.
Mhm.
And when that happens, I just give up the money, the extra,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
money that,
Oh,
yeah. So
that's
yeah,
so
that happens.
tough. Oh my
Yeah, and
goodness.
there are times when I had depression and anxiety. I don't have anybody. I don't have a family member here who can support me and just
Yeah.
like help me to deal with all those things in life, or just give me a hug. And that's not possible. Like flying back to China is a 13-hour flight. So
Wow.
yeah,
So how
yeah.
did you cope with those moments when yeah, you didn't have people to turn to that felt like home and I'm sure it would have been really difficult to get through those moments, especially struggling with different anxiety disorders or just feeling lonely in general.
Yeah, so this is why I had my cat, to be honest. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I was just thinking that I don't have a home here. And this little guy, she does not have a home here either. I will just adopt her and we will have a little family. Yeah, so my
Oh.
cat is just definitely my emotional support. Like I cannot live without her. Yeah,
That's
she's very
amazing.
important. And also, I have some like really good friend who are there for me. I have when I have emotional breakdowns,
Mhm.
and I cannot like be where I am today without all of them. And
Mhm.
I'm also very grateful for my professors, because I remember there's one time that I had an emotional breakdown right before a computer science exam,
Mhm.
and I was like, there's no way my professor will like just accept this excuse. Hey, I'm emotional breakdown. Can I skip the exam or just like push it back a little bit? I was just talking that to my friend, and my friend was like, just give it a shot. Just try to email him and see how it goes. And professor, his name was Gary, and he was super super nice and understanding. And he was
Mhm.
like, Sky, don't worry about the exam at all. You just get all the help you need, and we can talk about how can we make this work afterwards. Like, don't worry about it. Yeah.
That's so good. That's like, I think we forget as human, I think we forget that everyone else is just as human as we are. And sometimes, like, I know I
Yeah.
definitely hold professors on like this high pedestal, but when it comes
Hmm.
down to it, I think it's hard to be vulnerable in that situation and say, like, hey, I'm going through a really tough time and I can't complete this exam. But being able to experience, like, have their compassion and know that like they're rooting for you and they're just as human as you are. And I'm sure they've had their fair share of breakdowns too. It must have been like a really comforting experience to have that weight lifted off your shoulders.
Yes, I think it's also very hard for me to be like vulnerable and tell other people that I need help.
Mhm.
Because like yeah, like I grew up just I went through the entire education system in China. And growing up, I was just raised to always be tough, to always be strong. You're not supposed to like show your weakness. You're not supposed to just give excuses of your poor performance. You are always supposed to get an A. You are always supposed to just perform perfectly,
Mhm.
whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through. This is like considered a quality that you should have. That is considered what high achievers should be doing. And I just thought, okay, like that's what I should do as well. I just should hide all of my anxiety and depression. I just should like toughen up, and I should not be just like crying. I should not be having emotional breakdown. I should not be asking for help. Like that's,
Wow.
yeah, all of my self-talk during that time. But
Yeah.
yeah, like my therapist helped me to went through that. My friend also yeah, talked to me a lot about it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to reach out, and they are always there.
That's so amazing. I love therapy. I'm such a huge advocate for therapy. I started
Yeah.
therapy back in March or back March or April when the pandemic first hit and was really bad. And I think the biggest thing I've learned from it too is to have compassion with myself and know that it's okay. I don't need to constantly push and need to be working so hard all the time. It's so important to have grace with ourselves and have compassion. And I think we have to
Yes.
hear it from these external sources because we just can get so tough on ourselves in our own brain.
I know, how interesting. Like the words that I say to myself, I would never say that to my friends.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
just,
right? That's
yeah.
crazy. Someone said
Yes.
to me, they were like, if like you were hanging out with someone who actually spoke to you the way you spoke to yourself, like you would never be friends with someone who would say that kind of stuff to you.
Yes. Yes.
Oh
You
my
just need,
gosh.
you know exactly like what is the right way of thinking. It's just when it comes to yourself, it's so hard to say the same thing to yourself. It's, yeah, I'm very harsh on myself.
Yeah, I definitely am too. I'm curious too how it's so important to focus on what's best for us rather than sometimes the pressure that other people can even put on us. I'm curious your experience with that or if you've learned different things throughout the years or how you've come across that lesson.
Oh yeah. So yeah, for me, I definitely experienced that a lot. So like in Asian communities, it's very much like everybody's expecting you to go to all those like high-ranking schools, get perfect grade, go on a career that makes tons of money, hopefully a lawyer or a doctor. All
Mm.
those very traditional career. So yeah, like even for my relatives, they just talk to me all the time about, hey Sky, why are you not like going to all those like top 30 universities in the US. Why are you not doing
Wow.
computer science degree, like just totally for computer science instead of just using computer science to help dairy cows? And that gave me a lot of pressure for sure. Because like for me, I am studying animal welfare, and
Mhm.
it's such a new field for China in general. Hardly anybody heard of it, and we hardly have anybody that is a Chinese professor in this industry. So I'm
Wow.
usually like, I'm so used to be the only Asian, or the very few Asian in the room when it's a animal welfare conference.
Mhm.
And I feel like kind of a trailblazer in my own path. I'm following my own dream, but other people are like saying, hey, why are you not doing this? Why are you not like, becoming an engineer or other high paying jobs? Why are you doing this? So yeah, this gives me a lot of pressure, but at the same time, I think I'm always the kind of person who know what I want. I know what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about animal welfare, especially animal welfare in China, and I wanted to make a difference in the world. So I have to learn to live with all those judgments and opinions from other people. I decided that I don't want other people's opinion to decide what kind of life I'm living. So
Mhm.
yeah.
That's amazing. That's an amazing point. Like I couldn't agree more. And I think it's really a difficult combination, putting so much pressure on ourselves from the beginning without outside influences, and then having all of those people saying all of those expectations and different things that you should be doing. But I think the most incredible thing is that you are studying something that isn't very common in China, like you said, and it isn't something that a lot of people know about, which means that it's important for people to pursue that and to be interested in it. I'm curious, do you have plans to go back to China and pursue after graduation, or what are you thinking for your future?
Yeah, actually, I just had a lovely conversation with one of the founders for like animal welfare in developing countries, and it was such a lovely chat and gave me so much hope for animal welfare in China one day. This is why like I decided that I will go on for a PhD degree
Oh,
after my
wow.
master's.
Congrats.
Uh, yes, and I will go back to China this year and try to visit some dairy farms. I wanted to try to come up with some research ideas and pitch to my current supervisor to see if I can do a research about dairy cows in China and try to actually do something, or at least learn more about dairy in China,
Mhm.
because currently everything is just my dream and my ideas is all in my head. I haven't put into action yet, and I really wish this would become into reality in the coming years.
Mhm. Can you break down a little bit of what that means, like with animal welfare for dairy cows? As someone who's like, I have no understanding and knowledge of it, I'm curious if you want to give a little explanation about it.
Yeah, so when we talk about animal welfare, it's usually the combination of three things. Is the health, which is what we really care about, like what farmers really care about the diseases that dairy cows have and how can we treat them. And the second is their natural behavior. Are they able to perform their natural behaviors in a farm setting? And the third is that their effective state. So how are they feeling? Are they feeling happy, or are they feeling painful? Are they feeling like depressed even? Yes. And
Okay,
for
interesting.
for dairy cattle right now, my research has been focusing on the lameness of dairy cows. Like how can we use technology to create an automatic system to assess the lameness of dairy cows on a longitudinal setting and in a faster and cheaper way.
Oh, wow. That's really important work, and I feel like I love that. Like it seems like something you're so passionate about too, and it's so exciting that you're going to pursue a PhD as well after, and it seems like you're following the path that you feel best about.
Yes, yes. I think it's always been a struggling. There are two little guys fighting in my mind when they're saying
Yeah.
that, "Hey, Sky, I really, really love doing this. I really love helping dairy cows, and especially if I can help dairy cows in China one day." And the second guy is like, "Hey, Sky, you're supposed to go to all those high-ranking schools, get all those high-paying jobs, be the person that everybody want you to be." So those two are always fighting. And
Mhm.
something I realized that every time I met a person who is also really passionate about improving animal welfare in China, like that fire inside of me just light up, and I was like,
Yeah.
yes, yes, this is what I want to do.
That's
So
amazing. Oh,
yes, it's
I'm so
always,
happy for you.
like that. Yeah,
That's awesome. And
thank
I
you so
feel like
much.
it's so interesting to hear too, like the person that other people want us to be, if we were going to try and be that person, other people wouldn't care. When it comes to it at the end of the day, if we were going to fulfill all these jobs to other people, they'd be like, "Okay, great." And then that would be the only validation you get and be like, "Okay, why am I doing this?" You'd be so unhappy in these different kind of jobs or careers you'd find yourself in. So it's so important for us to, even though some people may judge us or, be surprised by it or not understand it, it's important to follow those passions. And it's the best feeling ever, like you said, when you're chatting with someone else who cares a lot about animal welfare in China, to get that fiery, passionate, like excited feeling inside. But you did mention how you like did some coding when you were in China and hated it and didn't think you'd ever do it again, and now it's a part of like your everyday life. And I'm so curious that shift that happened with you.
Yeah, so this is actually one of the reasons why I really wanted to become a professor one day, because I have experienced so many different education system in different countries. I've
Mm-hmm.
seen professors who are really great at teaching. They changed my life. They changed my career path. I also met professors who just totally destroyed my interest in a subject.
Wow.
And I remember when I was at freshman, there was a computer science 101 class that I took. And the professor was very much like, okay, only the smartest kids can survive in my class. You have to learn everything all by yourself. I will just give you big assignments right away. You have to be smart to take this class. And I
Wow.
remember that because I have never learned coding before. So although I am interested, I'm intrigued, I don't know where to start. And I
Mm.
was just frustrated all the time. Like, I feel like I'm so stupid. I'm not designed for coding. So I swear that I will never, ever write code again in my life. It was just very
Wow.
traumatizing for me.
Mhm.
And also, I just remember like this kind of denial that I got for as a female scientist when I was little. I mean, not little, when I was a freshman. I attended a small satellite design competition, and I was I think I was the only female that was in the finalist. And there
Wow.
is a Q&A session, and the vice president of that university just like picked me out and asked me a question, saying that, "What is your role in this team? Like serving tea and coffee?" I was just totally like astonished. You are judging my intelligence just based on the fact that I am a female.
Wow.
Yes. So
I thought this was going somewhere totally opposite. I thought they were going to ask you some like nice intelligent question about how you're the only women and something empowering. That is the complete opposite of where I thought this was going. That is horrible.
yes, it was a
Oh my
horrible
God.
experience. So I was very traumatized when I was freshman.
Yeah. That's
But
so messed
then
up.
yeah, and then I moved to the US. I moved to University of Madison. I made so many friends from all over the world. And one of them was a employee from Cisco, that technology company in California.
Mm.
And I remember he was like bragging to me all about all those cool things Cisco was doing, including using satellite to track rhinos in Africa.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, that was the first time I ever realized that you can actually use technology to help animals to save their lives. So I
Wow.
was like, okay, I know I sweared I would never write code again, but this is for animals, so I'm willing to take a shot. And I took a computer science, well, it's an intro level class again. And
Mm.
this time, I definitely fall in love with it because the professors there, Gary was super nice. He just taught us from baby steps and build up to a bigger project. And he said that there's no stupid question in his class. So
Oh.
I asked whatever I want. I don't feel judged. I don't feel ashamed. And I feel just smart. I feel
Oh.
that I accomplished so many things every time I made a code run.
Wow. What an opposite experience you had with the first coding class. That literally is a reflection of how much your professor influences, or like how much, not even just professors too, because even for people who aren't in university, how much, what one person can say to you can change the course of something in a really negative way or in a really positive way.
Yes, yes, exactly. This is why like I got so angry every time I just read about like a professor like totally destroying other people are like the freshman's interest, like thinking that they're stupid, or just saying that, hey, if you are not succeeding, then it's your problem, not mine, which
Mhm.
not is not the case. Okay. Like sometimes if you're not good at something, it could be just that you have a different learning curve, you have a different way of learning, and your professor should know that. Your professor should do his or her job to make sure that you are learning, everybody in the class is learning, is improving.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's crazy. So you said you have a goal of you want to be a professor one day so you can influence people's lives in a positive way, like that second professor was able
Yes,
to do for you.
yes, yes, definitely. This is a, yeah, this is a dream of me. Don't know
That's
if it
a
will come true, but yeah, it's a dream.
that's amazing. I could see you being a professor. I think I know no matter what you do, you'll strive and do some incredible things and influence people's lives in positive ways. And I'm so glad you came to your computer really because we're doing this virtually, but came and
Yes.
chatted with me. I love your story and I'm so glad we're able to share it online publicly with people.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jessica. It's so lovely
Oh,
chatting with you.
of
Yeah.
course, you
I
too.
really
Where can
appreciate
people
this.
Oh, yes, of course. It was so great to chat. Where can people also find you online as well?
Oh, so they can like follow me on Instagram, which is sky dashen sky.sheng. I usually use Instagram. Yeah, but like yeah, I have WeChat as well. So for Chinese audience, it's gonna be DOREL 36.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jessica. I'm so glad to be here.
If you want to connect further with Sky or myself, check out our profiles at pickmybrain.world and make sure you subscribe to the podcast, leave a review if you enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram at Jessica J. McDonald. Follow us at Human to Human Pod. Check this out on YouTube and also check out my personal YouTube where I post some fun compilation videos. I will see you on Tuesday.